out they go, the two not-out batsmen, David Malan and Joe Root. Virat Kohli walked out at the end with his hands firmly thrust into his trouser pockets there.
Well, it's quite chilly out there.
There's a bit of a nip, but he's not had a good game so far. I keep saying I'm sure he was right with the toss, so people might still debate that. But I think most 9 out of 10 captains would have chosen to have batted first yesterday, having won the toss. So I don't think you can blame him for that. But it hasn't gone well for his team since then. And again, he's got to try and prize a wicket or two here.
Well, I mean, also of interest during that session was the dismissal of Hamid.
Yes.
Because that was a serious delivery from a classic left-arm spin. Just pitched on, middle and off, turned, clipped the off bail.
Yeah,
and
Moeen missed it. I mean, he had it completely covered.
Well, it was, but it did turn quite significantly. And you know, if you start bowling with a big lead, there's freedom for Mo to help out the seamers who did so well in the first innings.
So we're nearly ready to go. There's 3 around the bat. Malan's on strike, and it is Jadeja who's going to continue from this end. He starts a very full ball that Malan drives back at him. And the score remains then on 182 for 2. So England lead by 104 going into what is only the 5th session of the match. So the deep square leg. So Kohli moving people around. He's at short mid-on, and he goes back this time and steers the ball to backward point. And there's no run. People slowly returning after their lunch breaks, emerging there on the West Stand.
Still adjusting to Malan being a Yorkshire player, but
yes. And he's forward, punching out towards it, but off it doesn't get there. So fielded by the bowler.
So you've got 3, 4, 5 are all Yorkshire. Yes. Well, they're not Yorkshire men, but they're Yorkshire players.
Yeah. Jadeja tosses this one up. Oh, that's a bit loose from Malan, driving a ball that wasn't quite there for it. Out of those footholds, he's got to be careful. I saw one at Burns yesterday. Turned quite sharply out of that area, and you've got to really get the length right. Jadeja once more bowls flatter, shorter, and uses the pace of that to steer the ball to backward point once more. 182 for 2. Jadeja gets his overs so quickly. It's the last one. Just pats it back. And it's 182 for 2. So Jadeja starting with a tidy maiden. Still cloudy. We're rather promised that this would be the case all day today. So no breaks whatsoever. Just a little bit of brightness where the sun is directly above us. But low cloud, not moving very much. There's not much of a breeze. But the ball really hasn't done anything today. It doesn't feel...
It's a bit too cold,
you look at the cloud, you think, the ball might swing around today. But there isn't that humid feel that you often think is what it takes. Johnny Bairstow's looking on. He's due in next.
I mean, I guess what the locals would love is a Root... I mean, I'm sure they love Malan here now, but a Root-Bairstow partnership of significance would cheer everyone up. Not that they're not cheerful at the moment.
Well, they're quite cheerful because Sharma's coming on, and they've given him a bit of stick. Certainly bowled that really poor first over yesterday, and he really hasn't looked like his usual self. Something going on down there in the West Stand, and maybe that's created by some stewards moving in. There's some sailors sitting there, I see. Maybe half a dozen of them, decked out in their naval outfits, as Sharma bowls to Root, who steers that away, as he likes to do, into that offside, down towards a squarish third man. So strong there. I'll be interested to see what India do for him, to what they've picked up, because everything would have been analysed, all the runs that he scored in the first 2 tests, and they must have got ideas about where he scored. I mean, that 100 at Lords, he didn't score a single run down the ground. So will they change the fields? Will they have... I think a gully is a good position for Root in case he gets that run towards third man slightly wrong, gives a catch there. I'll be fascinated to see if the analysts have all been at work and come up with some ideas for Kohli. Well, Kohli himself has some ideas. He's got the best view after all. He's standing at first slip. And Sharma's pouring at the ground at the far end, making his mark. And it's quite a long way. It sets off from the advertiser's mat. It's pegged out onto the outfield. Vivid blue, green and yellow. In comes Sharma and bowls down the leg side. We'll have a brush that away. They've taken one. He's got his eye on two, but he's not going to get that second run as the fielder winds up now and tosses the ball in to be collected by Pant. So let's see what they've got for Root here. Because you wonder if a mid-on and mid-off are actually necessary, or whether you want to encourage him to try and hit in that direction. We talked about Hamid being in this sort of comfort zone, if you like, of not really being tested with short balls and so on, and very happily leaning on the front foot and playing immaculately. So try and make the batsman play differently. And they have got a gully.
Yes, they brought in a gully. Root loves just to run that ball down there, and if there's no third man, he gets four, and there's one there now, and it's a way to get off strike with a single currently.
Sharma's on his way, and he bowls, and Root leans onto the front foot. It goes square. That's how he tends to play. I'd be tempted just to do without a mid-off for a while.
Well, you think you could bring him to around, if you want to bowl reasonably full at him, so you could bring him around to sort of extra cover, and you bring your point a little bit squarer, perhaps.
He might be tempted just to drive at a ball edge.
Push harder at it, maybe.
So it's fairly orthodox at the moment there. There's a mid-on, and I think it's okay for Sharma because he tends to bring the ball into the right-hander, so you want that bit of protection up there. But I think, just to try and make him play somehow differently. Sharma bowls onto the back foot, he goes and cracks that down. It is fielded by the gully fielder. But on the bounce, 184 for 2, Root on 15. The man out today is Rory Burns, celebrating his birthday. He's out for 61. And then Hasib Hamid was bowled by Jadeja, which I think just surprised everybody, including him. He stood there. It was rather reminiscent of Mike Gatting's reaction to the Shane Warne delivery. He just stood there a bit frozen for a moment. Hang on a minute, how has that bowled me?
I think Jadeja's might be the ball of the month, but not the century.
No, I wasn't quite comparing him from that perspective. Sharma's on his way and bowls, and Root onto the back foot defends. It's fielded by Pujara coming up from mid-wicket.
It was a good ball, though.
It was a good ball, yeah.
But like you, it looked as if he was playing the perfect forward defence.
Yes.
And it did turn. It turned past the outside edge, but what happens is just slightly defeated him on length too. It was not quite as full as he thought as he pushed forward. And there was time for the ball to spin enough just to miss the outside edge and clip the off stump. It was a lovely delivery.
184 for 2. And the second over after lunch. Sharma's on his way, a loping approach, and that's driven out through extra cover. Where our man might have been, I reckon. But anyway, mid-off's giving chase down to that boundary. They'll come back for 3. Nice stroke from Root. .187 for 2. Yes, not banging on about it, but I think I would have had the man there. He might have made him try and play a little bit straighter and go a bit harder at it.
Well, let's see whether he can hit it to the right of mid-off for that fielder. I mean, I suspect he's such a good player that he probably can.
Indeed.
But let's check it out.
Yeah, let's have a look. There's so much when you don't want to go chasing wickets. When you're in India's position, if you go hunting and chasing and trying to force something, you end up probably going for more runs than you'd want to do. But there are things that you can do to distract the batsman or just make him think, hang on, okay, I've got to change my game a bit now.
Well, I certainly think that area just behind square on the offside, he gets so many runs there that you need to protect that. It's an easy way out for him. He's got off strike very quickly. I don't know how many balls he's faced, Andy, but not
19.
very many. 19.
Yeah. There's 10 overs to the second new ball is available. So I'm sure they'll take it. Root's checking his guard. Pouring at the ground just outside of his crease. I don't think he'll bat there because the spinner's bowling. Just a mark there for him to know where his bat's going to be. And Jadeja's going round the wicket to him. Root very carefully, circumspectly comes forward because this is the angle that Jadeja bowled from when he did clean bowl Hamid. And it pitched about middle and trimmed the off bail. Maybe middle and off. Jadeja bowls a bit straight, and Root can work him away into the leg side, but hits the fielder at short leg, who'll probably be Pujara, who gets sent into there, despite being quite a senior player in the side.
Yeah, but he's not in very good nick.
No, he's not.
So he's got.
In he goes. Jadeja bowls, brings Root forward. Jadeja raises his arms there in expectation, or sort of optimistically anyway, but Root played it off the middle of the bat. 187 for 2. Jadeja tosses up. That's a full toss. It's clipped away. Beats mid-wickets, dive, and that'll be 4. And it deserved it too. It wasn't a good ball. And Root just placed it, really. He didn't try and hit it too hard.
No,
he just knew where the gap was and just turned the ball in that direction.
Just tapped it.
And quite clinical.
Yeah. And there are some net wickets down there, so it races away once it beats the field. It's quite a fast outfield at Headingley.
191 for 2.
He's already got 22, Root.
Yeah. Lead by 113. He's tapping at the pitch there, looking around again. No obvious change to the field. Jadeja swings his arm, moves in, and bowls, and now he's punched it away off the back foot, beating mid-on. Rather laboured chase there as the ball will hit the boundary again, this time much straighter. So full toss followed by a ball that's too short, and Kohli's chewing his gum. He's got his hands on his hips. So he's not looking happy at all.
Well, he thinks that shouldn't have gone for 4. Who's at mid-on, but he struggled to get moving.
I think it's Bumrah, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's Bumrah.
But it was a beautifully placed shot and timed a little more than a flick off the back foot. But he knew exactly where he wanted to hit it. He got full value for it.
Jadeja moves in and bowls, and again it's a bit short, and Root can put it into that leg side, but Bumrah's there this time, trotting round from mid-on to keep them down to a single. And Root keeps a strike, and he's looking busy, purposeful, just to get some momentum into this innings. They've built their platform after all. The lead's 118, and now it's a case of pressing on. Not recklessly by any means, and there's no threat of weather or anything like that to disturb things.
Because a little while ago you asked me the last time Joe Root came into bat with more than 150
I did.
on the board. It's only happened once since November 2016. That was the second innings against Ireland in the one-off test at Lord's in 2019. He came in at 182 for 3, batting at 5 after Jack Leach had gone in as night watchman to open the batting. The last time he came in with a score at over 150 in the first innings of a test was in Abu Dhabi, October 2015.
Blimey.
And the last time
the
last time he came in with more than 100 on the board was the third test against West Indies last year, and England have now played 13 tests since then.
It's nice when you produce an interesting stat, isn't it? You create one. He's handed over his Root on the back foot, punching Sharma to cover. It doesn't happen very often, but thank you, Andy, for making that one, making it work. It just felt like it had been a long time. It was 2015.
It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Ridiculous, really. Well, it is ridiculous.
Well, he seems to enjoy batting with a bit of a platform so far. Anyway, he's started very positively.
Yeah. Twiddles the bat, settles in once again. Sharma disappears into the distance. There's a beach ball that's appeared on the west stand. The stewards might take a bit of an interest in that. It's almost bouncing over the back of it there. There's Sharma on his way, bowls, and Root comes forward and drives again, fairly square. Finds the man fielding their cover point, 196 for 2. The lead is 118 for England. They look to bat on today, and tomorrow, if they can, build whatever lead they can. So absolutely no time pressure whatsoever. And the way it's looking, India will be facing a huge deficit, but wickets will fall. It tends to happen. Things rarely proceed as you expect them to. Sharma's on his way, bowls, and Root drives firmly, finds Shami at mid-on. 196 for 2. Sharma walks thoughtfully back to his mark again. All being polished hard on the back of the trousers. As I mentioned, the new ball will be available soon. This is the 72nd over. But India really want to have a wicket before then and get Johnny Bairstow in to face that new ball. That would be their plan. Sharma waits. Root's bat raise allows that to go through into pants gloves outside the off stump. Plays that leave again Now some more gardening, tapping at the pitch. Were you a gardener, Victor? I can't remember. Were you a prodder of the pitch?
Not too much.
I thought being a wily spinner, you might have found one or two little areas it might think needed a bit of particular attention.
Harder.
Well, no, never did that.
Well, I don't. May have done.
196 for 2. Sharma moves in, bowls, roots on the back foot, plays down the gully. I mean, I suppose it's something you can learn from school cricket and club cricket when you're tapping down a proper divot, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you just will bring that habit with you.
You used to see the back of the bat where there's it'd be black marks, wouldn't there? And I mean, people used to get pretty uptight when you're batting in this situation. You'd be batting in your flat little sort of cricket shoes that didn't make much more than an odd scuff. But then, as the declaration was imminent, you were wearing great big studs and your bowling boots, so that every time you plonked your foot down, it made a mark on the surface and hopefully perhaps made it crumble a little bit. And the fielding side would get very stroppy.
Fancy Darren Gough entertaining some people over in a box over there. This is outside the off stump, asking for trouble from Root. Cuts it, but there is a third man down there. Perhaps he'd like to have hit that a bit squarer, but he gets a single, which again keeps in the strike. 197 for 2, Malan 28, and now Root has 28, more from Victor, and then Dan will come in here.
Well, a pretty serene start by England after lunch. Root's dominated the run scoring, dominated the strike as well. I mean, so far he's played the spin extremely well. He is when he's in nick, he is a difficult person to bowl at because he plays so much off the back foot. He can go back to length balls against someone like Jadeja, and he still seems to have time, and that pushes the ball a bit fuller, so the drive comes into the equation more easily. But the last over against Jadeja just clipped not a very short ball through mid-wicket for 4.
Jadeja starts a new over, and forward comes Root to full ball, one off stump, plays it to backward point. Along the ground, there's no run. We're talking about gardening and gardeners. It's true, John Embry used to like to. You were talking about wearing big bowling boots. Forward and defence comes. Root pushes it back to Jadeja. There's no run. I heard that he was quite canny on that front
when batting.
Yes.
Well, he obviously wanted a crumbly surface to bowl on.
Jadeja in, worked away into the onside, straight to short mid-wicket. There's no run again. Yes, he would have done. And he could bat a bit, couldn't he?
Yeah. Not in a beautiful manner, but his own.
Slightly shorter, and Root picks the length and pushes the ball square of the wicket in the offside. Almost anybody else would have been drawn forward to that ball, but Root is so alive and so quick to the length of the spinner. Just rocked back, found the gap, got a single, moves to 29 from 35.
Ember's made himself into a very good batsman. He was never pretty, but he had his own technique, but he honed it and got better and better, and is a source of great frustration to many fielding captains.
I bet. Malan, the left-hander, now on strike. Jadeja comes over the wicket, and the ball just gets past the inside edge of the bat, but he's outside the line of the off-stump. Thuds into his pad, and the ball is relayed back to Jadeja. Jadeja's one of these bowlers who likes to have the ball back in his hand as soon as he can. He's in once more, and again forward comes Malan, solid bat and pad, close together, back up the wicket to the bowler. End of an uneventful over, just the one run from it. England 198 for 2, Malan 28, Root 29.
Well, he's on target. He bowls his overs very quickly, which is quite an asset in this attack. There's no Ashwin.
Not much of an asset. Bowling
Ashwin,
the other end.
Yeah, no, Ashwin. You feel as this match progresses, and it's progressed pretty quickly up until now, but there would have been a case for an Ashwin and a Jadeja in this lineup, I think, because it really hasn't done a great deal for the Indian seamers, and I'm sure it will spin a bit here. It looks dry, the footholds are getting ever more prominent, and it's odd that Ashwin, who with his record, is on the sidelines, as he often is, away from India.
Well, he would also given them a bit with the bat, wouldn't he? But But I suppose the problem for India is not really their bowling attack. It is the fact they were bundled out for 78. Those days will happen every now and then as Ishant Sharma starts a new over to Root, who plays off the back foot gorgeously square of the wicket, out to the boundary for 4. And again with a minimum of effort and fuss, but all in the placement and the timing. It was a little bit short from Sharma. And he's found the boundary again. 33 he goes to. But on reflection, it was a bit short actually. But
it was a bit short, but it was still a fine shot. And we've been talking about Ted Dexter, obviously. He stayed pretty side on, and it was not much of a cut shot. It was more of a back foot drive with the bat vertical. He started really well.
200 up, 202 for 2 as Ishant is into Root again, wide of the off stump and left alone. The gloves are bumped. There's no run. He has, hasn't he? I mean, he's obviously in this rich vein at the moment, moving his feet gloriously.
Sometimes you can always worry yourself. Look, this didn't happen to me very frequently, but you can come out and start playing, surprising yourself with the fluency with which you're playing, and then you if you're like me, or indeed I remember Mark Wood saying, I felt like Don Bradman out there, that was a trouble. That you become vulnerable because it's all working out so easily. It may not happen to the likes of Root.
He just plugged that gap square of the wicket in the offside with the fielder, and he gets a thick outside edge as he's turned round by this. He's going to come back for 2 as it's squirted away through backward point. The throw comes in at the non-striker's end. And Root moves to 35. From 38 balls, no one in this match has been as fluent so far. No. But on that occasion, a rare false shot, just looking to play a sort of on drive and maybe even more through mid-wicket, and it got the leading edge, squirted away for a couple of runs. 204 for 2, the lead 126. Obviously, he's a danger man. India need to get him out, but it's even more. You see why he's so dangerous. I'm going to ask Andy something in a minute after this ball. As Sharma is in, that's defended by Root to the offside. There's no run. So when England lost their second wicket today, when Hamid was out, how many overs had they batted in the day, and how many runs have they scored at that point, and how many runs have they scored subsequently in how many overs since Root has arrived?
They lost Hamid's wicket with the last ball of the 21st over of the day. They'd scored 39 runs. Lots of Burns and then Hamid. Since then, this partnership is now 45 in 10.4 overs.
There you go.
Yeah, well, what a valuable question. A bit of a half volley for the likes of Zaltzman, but it was valuable.
Yeah, I thought you'd be able to supply it. Ishant in again. That's driven by Root, and a diving stop at cover prevents the 4 runs that otherwise would have accrued. It was a really good diving stop from Jadeja, who's in this slightly unusual position. He's at a close point, not a silly point, but he's not moving. He doesn't come in as the bowler bowls. He's standing 4 pitch widths away, and he's about a yard in front of square. And that is a shot, but I suppose it's an area that Root looks to play. But of course, what that's done is it's gave that little gap to the left of Jadeja, which
he really crunched that drive too. I mean, another 2 feet either side. That was 4.
It's a packed offside field, creating a tight ring as Sharma is in. Forward comes Root, and solid defence up to short extra end of the over. 204 for 2. Malan 28. Root 35, the lead 126, and mounting. But when a batter's in this kind of form, it's so strange to think that they ever weren't, in a way. And it's been the whole of, I say not the whole of this summer, but in these 3 test matches, even the 33 he got in the losing cause at Lords, he looked entirely different from anywhere else in the England side, certainly.
Yeah, he just looked a class apart from anyone else in his team at the moment. Malan, Hamid and Burns have done pretty well. They've got runs on the board, but they had to work hard for them.
Jadeja starts a new over and beats everything. The ball goes past punt and straight down to the boundary for 4 byes. It was very full, fired in, and Malan went to push at it, missed it completely. 208 for 2.
Yeah, I don't quite know how he missed that. He sort of yorked himself almost.
Yeah, it went
Played inside it slightly. It was too much for Pant.
indeed. It sort of went straight through his legs. Missed his gloves. Driving again is Milan and missing again.
It's a half volley. It was a very full half volley, almost Yorker again. And now he's having a go for Milan. How have I missed that?
Yeah, see this one again. Yeah, that is a half volley. But he's maybe sort of yorked himself by getting a stride in just too far. Here is Jadeja, and he's padding away this time, Milan. The ball outside his off stump. Needs to be slightly careful there. It's a left armour onto the left-hander. There are foot marks outside the off stump. Jadeja in again. Fuller again. Pushed into the offside. He wants a quick single. The throw comes in at the striker's end, but Root is home. It didn't hit direct. 209 for 2. Milan, a bit skittish there. Yes, Andy.
50 partnership with that single in 11 and a half overs.
See, that is quite the contrast, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, as I say, Root is on a different plane to the others. He's got 35 of that 50.
He's now got a remarkable 1,312 runs this calendar year already. Jadeja into Root, comes forward in defence and plays into the offside. There's no run.
What about the most runs scored by a Test player in a calendar year is?
Well, it's Mohammed Yusuf, since you asked.
Okay, thank you.
It's 1,788. As Jadeja is in, worked into the onside by Root, straight to short mid-wicket. And there's no run. End of the over, 209 for 2. Milan 29, Root 35. It beat Viv Richards' long-standing record.
Of when
Mohammed
was that,
Yusuf,
76?
76, yes. When he scored 1,710 runs. A lot of those in that 76 series against England. A couple of double hundreds. But at this stage in the calendar year, August, it's pretty good going to have.
And there are, obviously there are 2 more tests after this.
5
Not quite
more
so many.
after
Well,
that,
not
perhaps.
quite so many in a calendar year because the Ashes is starting a bit later this year.
If they happen, will they not get 3 in, I think?
Yeah, probably 3.
So there'll be 5 more tests
Yes.
after this.
Yeah.
And he's only 450 runs away. So if he goes at the pace he's going, then he would get there.
Indeed.
But there's many a slip twixt cup and lip. Mohammed Siraj is coming back into the attack. And so far bowled 10 overs for 39. So a bit expensive in this innings. We've got 2 slips at cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. It's on a deep backward point, really. A long leg and deep backward square as Milan just defends from the crease. Shortish ball back up the wicket. And there is no run.
Have we ever had 3 Yorkshiremen at 3, 4 and 5? Not Yorkshire men, but Yorkshire cricketers.
Well, I believe not. I'm going to go and see my cousin after this stint.
And he'll know.
And I'm going to ask him exactly where he got that information from, because I've written down, and I left it here yesterday for everyone to peruse. But our skipper Adam Mountford has tidied things away. So I can't remember all the details. Siraj in, round the wicket to Milan this time, and he lets it go by. Low through to punt, and there's no run. It's pretty unusual. The Yorkshire have supplied 3 of the top 5, I believe, 12 times for England. But one county has done it 16 times.
Okay, that's bound to be Surrey, isn't it?
Well, it is. That's a very good guess on your part, Victor. Yeah. Here comes Siraj round the wicket to Milan. Milan, he's beaten on the outside edge. Through to punt, that was close. Victor's off. The mere thought of Surrey has sent him scurrying for the hills. 209 for 2. Now that last delivery did shape nicely, actually, away from Milan, who poked at it, felt that he had to because it was coming in on the angle, and then just drifted away from his outside edge. India in the hunt for wickets. The deficit, or the lead, 131. Milan turns this into the onside. Short ball off the hip. Gets a single. picked up on that leg side, around about square leg. And he moves to 30 Milan, 210 for 2. And he was telling us before lunch that England number 3s this summer have contributed 63 runs at an average of just under 8, 7.8. And Milan has got 30 not out at the moment.
There's a gentleman in the Western Stand that is showing up a portrait of Virat Kohli in a frame.
Oh, yeah.
He brought the frame with him.
And actually, now we see Virat, and he's looking quite puzzled, isn't he?
I don't
know if it's that.
It's not a great portrait, to be honest.
There's Root facing up to Siraj, defended back at the wicket. And there's no run. There are some ropey portraits out there.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your lunch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Up to a point.
Andy, enjoy your lunch?
Could done with a bit more salt.
Define enjoy.
Yeah. There he goes. He's in the middle of the aisle, just hosting his portrait of Virat. He's got a lovely tie on as well, the gentleman.
Siraj is in. Root covers up defence, pushes up to mid-on, and there's no run. Is it recognisably Kohli, would you say, that portrait?
Yeah.
End of the over.
It's quite clear that there's a beard.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Where is it? I'm trying to
He's
find
a bit
him in
more than that, I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not. There are some that are worse.
Yeah.
Probably down at HQ.
Yeah. There are a couple there. And mind you, there's an absolute beauty there. The Viv Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, that's
Fantastic.
magnificent, isn't it?
Brian Lara.
Yeah.
I like the Capel Dev one with the black shoes on.
Oh, need to check that one out.
Dev was told to just turn up, and he put his whites on, left his black shoes on, and just thought the artist would put a pair of white cricket shoes and just put the black shoes on.
Jadeja starts a new over to Milan, who defends into the onside. There's a sort of short mid-on, not quite a silly mid-on. It's Kohli, and he's 4 or 5 yards advanced from the non-striker's end and straight. So, actually, Milan nearly hits it straight to him in the air on that occasion. It's fired in straight and pushed by Milan to Kohli.
Yeah, they've kept Milan quiet here, haven't they, India?
Yeah. Jadeja is into him again, and he just works the ball straight back to Kohli. This might be the fast. This could be the record over we're after. First 3 balls have been fired in, pushed straight to Kohli, who's then handed it straight back to Jadeja, who's turning into bowl again. And the same thing has happened again. 4th ball running, full, push to Kohli. This is sensational.
Come on. Do it again.
Do it again. Can we have all 6? Short, cut away by Milan for 4. So Jadeja lost his line and he lost his length. He dragged it down, and Milan will be relieved with that because he was getting into a little bit of a hole there. And with it moves to 34 from 71. England 214 for 2. The lead 136.
That's a gift. Short and wide. Big vacant space on the offside for Milan. Just not going to miss that. It's a glorious delivery to receive.
Yes, isn't it? In again comes Jadeja. Forward comes Milan, thinking about a single as he pushes off the front foot into the offside, but there isn't one there. End of the over, just that 4 from it. England 214 for 2, Milan 34, Root 35. Andy.
All of England's top 4, and this is a sentence that listeners will not be familiar with, have scored 30 or more in the same innings. It's only the second time England's top 4 have all passed 30 in a test innings since March of 2013. They've played 108 tests in that time. And at that point they'd done so 5 times in 18 tests from August 2011 to March 2013. And now it's just the second in 108 since.
Wow. Consistency.
Well,
That's what you're after, isn't it?
No, can you believe it? It's a very strange position. England are 214 for 2. Siraj is into Root, who's on 35, and he defends a shorter ball into the onside.
Dan, just on the... I would describe today as it's like a test pitch. It starts quite well. Yesterday it was quite good, the food. Started quite nicely.
Yes.
And you get those pitches that deteriorate on day 2.
Yes.
But you hope they get better with more rolling.
Oh,
so by days 3 and 4, it comes back.
Right.
Sometimes
Might be
pitches,
good
you think
to
it's
eat on.
gone. Yeah, and you think, that pitch is gone, similar to what the food felt like today. It's gone.
Siraj is in, clipped away nicely by Root. He'll just get the single for it. Deep backward square moves to his left to field. 215 for 2, Root to 36.
It just felt today that like the food needed a few heavy rollers to get back into some kind of track.
Certainly need a bit more moisture in the chicken.
Yeah, well, you did.
Like chewing on a thigh pad, wasn't it?
Well, you chose the dry pitch option, whereas I went for the sticky dog.
Oh yeah, the pasta.
Yes, and that.
Didn't realise there was dog in it.
It probably would have been better.
It was prawn. Siraj is around the wicket to the left-handed Malan, who defends up to mid-off, and there's no run. Curiously, with Nocky, there was it was double pasta.
Yeah, I did notice the Nocky tray.
Although, in fairness, the Nocky was quite salty, so in the absence of salt, you could wrap the tagliatelle in the Nocky, and then you got a kind of hit.
I felt that if you added the coleslaw to anything that you ate, it actually was okay.
That's what Zoltz did. That was definitely his methodology. Siraj round the wicket to Malan, who defends, pushes into the offside, thinks of a single, it's not there. And there's no run. Still 215 for 2. But what? I mean, it may the sun may come out tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and could make it a very different exercise altogether.
Just a little more on that stat on England's top 4 all reaching 30. The last time they did so in the first innings of a test was in Kolkata in December 2012.
Crumbs.
On the tour when England won.
And that includes over 34s and over, does it? As Siraj is in, defended by Malan, pushed back up the wicket, no run.
Well, it's 30s and over, 30 plus for the top.
Right. Because, I mean, what's 50 and over? I mean, we could dream big here. Malan is 16 runs away from half century. Root is 14 runs away. I'm conscious now that there'll be certain listeners who are screaming at me not to jinx the partnership. You're seeing a man in a meditative trance, Michael.
Yeah, he's got the tea bags, for the hand warmers, and he's put them on his forehead. It's quite chilly out there today.
Siraj, it's Malan who pulls, but with no timing, and can't beat Jadeja. He's at mid-wicket. There's no run.
Well, we're 2 overs away from that second new ball, and obviously India will have to take it. It might offer England the chance to score a bit quicker as well, but generally will always offer you a bit more movement.
India will take it, will they? There's absolutely no doubt about that. They've got to take the wickets.
Have to.
Well, that's right. 2 overs to go until then. So Bumrah has. When did Bumrah last bowl, Andy?
66th over. Shami bowled the 68th, but that's the only over. That was the last over before lunch. Other than that, he's not bowled since the 56th.
So they'll both have had. They'll have had the 40 minutes off for lunch, and they'll have had sort of 45 minutes here. That's sort of an hour and a half's break. Jadeja is going to bowl the 79th over the innings. He starts it to Root, and Root drives into the gap, square of the wicket on the offside. He just finds gaps regardless of where the ball is bowled, and moves with that comfortably to 37. He's looking in. It's not just the touch, it's the balance and movement into the ball.
Well, he's a brilliant player of spin when it's spinning hugely. There's no real spin out there for Jadeja. He's just, he's got to 37 without really breaking sweat.
Not seen him sweep yet, have we? Not seen that.
He's not had to. He's just playing orthodox.
Jadeja into Malan this time, and Malan just props forward in stiff defence back to the bowler, straight along the ground. There's no run. Malan just feeling his way back into Test cricket. 34 from 77. Jadeja into him, that's fired in, worked up to mid-on. He's gone through for the quick single because Shami is deep at mid-on. He's done that a few times.
I'll just remind everyone, Malan's only played 2 first-class matches in 12 months. So it's not always about being out there in the middle playing. It's about your mind, getting switched on and having a good technique. And that's what's happening here. You've got Malan with a solid technique, good mindset, you can play.
Jadeja back into Root, who now does sweep for 4 through mid-wickets. Down on one knee. Because it was outside the off-stump, he went straighter to a straight mid-wicket. And England go to 221 for 2, Root into the 40s. He has 41. He was describing, wasn't he, during the series against Sri Lanka, how he basically sweeps on a clock face depending on where the ball is. If it's outside off, it'll go straighter. If it's straighter on midland leg, he'll go finer through the leg side. Works into the onside up to mid-on, this next full ball from Jadeja. 1 left in the over. 2:21 for 2. And after that, just one more over until the new ball. Jadeja in to complete the over, and Root drives up to mid-on. They thought of a single. It isn't there.
He was going to run there, wasn't he?
He was. End of the over. Milan 35, Root 41. 2-2-1 for 2. England lead by 143 more from Michael Vaughan. And then to take you through the next over and into the new ball, we imagine it'll be Alison Mitchell.
Yeah, it's solid from this England batting pair. Man 35, Joe Root 41. The odd ball's beaten the outside edge, but there's been nothing really of any movement for the Indians through the air or off the pitch to give them any kind of hope of getting 4 or 5 quick wickets. It's just a matter of England keeping concentrated, discipline, knowing your scoring areas, play nice and straight, and they should be able to bat the day out and end the day with a very healthy lead. Afternoon, Ali.
Hello, Michael. These two have put on 62 runs together, which is the ideal scenario leading into a new ball. 2 set batters and a lead nearing on 150. India will just be hoping that new ball, and there's not much there in the pitch or through the air, that new ball does something. The proudest seam, that magical ball can make the breakthrough. But Siraj having one more go, and it's a short ball this time, which Malan looked as if he was going to shape to pull and then pulled out at the last moment.
I'm surprised they haven't tried this earlier. India to someone like Malan, and even to Joe Root. Joe Root's in such a great tempo with his batting that India are continuously just bowling the same kind of tactics to him as he has faced throughout the whole series. Why not try a bounce the barrage for a few overs to Joe Root?
Siraj has got the deep square leg back on the boundary, fine leg as well, as he races in now to Malan outside the off stump, and he's punching it behind points, brings the man in off the boundary, jogs through for a single. 222 for 2 is a score Richie Benaud would be pleased about. The lead 144, and Malan on to 35 now, alongside Root on 41. That new ball surely will be Bumrah this time, alongside Mohammad Shami.
Well, you never know with India in this test match. They've got so much wrong, but you'd have to think that Bumrah and Shami will take that new ball.
Ishant Sharma just has not looked at the races, really, has he, this match?
Short of a gallop.
Siraj into Root, coming forward. Ball comes off the outside half of the bat, runs behind square, picked up no run.
I like this chant. This is it. Shoes off if you love Joe Root.
Did this start with Ben Stokes at Headingley? Shoes off if you love Ben Stokes, or had it already been in situ before then? Shoes are being held aloft in the Western Stand.
Kind of cold feet, aren't they? It's a fresh day.
I mean, would you go your left or your right?
Well, I don't know.
I think only one shoe is required. Siraj is racing in again, and Root looking to glide this, gets it past second slip, down to the fine third boundary. Bit of a chase as Root comes back for the second, and it's a pretty inaccurate throw from the deep.
Any stats on that, Andy? Last year when the shoes were left or right, should you know?
I don't. But when you say one shoe, it's shoes off, not shoe off.
Yeah,
well, that's true, but I don't see too many people holding aloft both shoes at the same time.
It shows a lack of commitment.
This is referring to the collective of shoes rather than your own shoes off. But it's a homage to Joe Root, that's for sure, and he's closing in on yet another 50 in this series and in this year of 2021. 2 more balls until the second new ball is available. England's lead 146. Root sees deep square leg out, and Siraj is in. He's bowling full, and Root gets forward and defends. Ball rolls into the onside up to short mid wicket, and no run. And they've just been steady. Odd ball has beaten the bat of Malan. Can't recall too much getting past Joe Root.
I don't think he's been beaten once yet, hasn't he?
And he's really up the pace, hasn't he? He's come out, particularly post-lunch, but he's just been busy from the moment he came out to the middle. Last ball of the over. Siraj in from the rugby stand end. It's wide, and Root's chased it. He won't get a boundary. There is a fielder there in the deep behind point. It's just the one. That means was another wild throw in. It's when he overthrows. They'll take another one.
That's what the Western stand likes. A few buzzards.
That will not please Kohli. It's surely the last over with that old ball. Bumrah is removing his sweater. England are 226 for 2 with 2 set batsmen, one of them Root on 45 and Dabir Malan on 36. And things are starting to go awry for India. They've got to really pull things back now with this new ball.
It always seems to be that when the buzzards arrive and the overthrows, and it's always the team that are against the grain of the game. Yeah, I mean, Rohit Sharma, that ball from Siraj when Malan had just got out there, went for 4. Malan plays a ball to mid-on and Siraj threw it in, and Rohit Sharma at second slip just lazy, and it went straight through for 4. So far in this test match, India have been very, very clumsy.
Well, this new ball has got to count for India and for Virat Kohli. England have established a lead of nearly 150. Still got 8 wickets in hand. We're only in day 2 of the match. And it will be Jasprit Bumrah. The new ball has been held aloft, shiny and red, with the gold print visible. And Bumrah was fabulous in terms of economy, only 1.5, by far the tightest of all the Indian bowlers.
Well, they're going to have to strike, because you've got a sense now that we're only nearing halfway through the day, and that's just in time, not overs. And this crowd will get lively, and it'll be the best time to be an England player out in the middle batting. And someone like Joe Root, he'll just get so much energy from this crowd, and India will they'll cop a bit. You're going to get a bit as an opposing fielder here at Headingley. It'll be all good fun, but it's not going to be an easy afternoon unless India get 3 and 4 quick wickets here.
We said that at the start of the day, wasn't it? They needed quick wickets. The only wickets that have fallen. And there's Rory Burns. It was a lovely ball from Mohammad Shami. Just came back a touch and took the top of off after Burns made 61. So added 9 to his overnight score. And then Hamid got a ball, an excellent one again from Jadeja. It straightened to turn past the outside edge and shave the off stump. And Hamid was bowled for 68. That was 159 for 2. England now 226 for 2. So Bumrah has this new ball in his hand, and Malan on strike. 2 slips in a gully, points, extra cover mid-off, mid-on, square leg and fine leg. So this has got to be India's chance. They're hoping there'll be some movement. This brand new ball as Bumrah is in around the wicket. Oh, it's a full toss. It's rather surprised Malan that he isn't really able to do anything with it except just defend, and he stuck the bat out in front of him.
I saw in the hospitality box bang opposite there was Darren Gough, Matthew Hoggard, Ryan Sidebottom, Richard Blakey, all doing a chat to a group.
Union.
Yeah, I saw them all having a chat to a group of people in the hospitality box. I had breakfast actually with Richard Blakey this morning, and we were reminiscing about cricket back in the 90s. He was telling me that he once played 32 days on the trot for Yorkshire in the county game.
Fair bit of travelling up and down the country, I imagine, with that as well. Bumrah in again, outside the off stump, a little bit of shape away past Malan.
That was in the days where you'd play a 3-day game, then go straight to a Sunday League game, back to a 3-day game. There was one time that he had to travel from Eastbourne to Cardiff for a Sunday afternoon game. Back. Yeah. Straight back to Eastbourne for a finish on Monday.
We wonder what the shape the domestic season will have next year. Maybe we'll end up having one-day games right on the back of Red Bull cricket. But as Malan will probably say, and Moeen Ali has said, it's mindset when you switch formats. But we're in, firing one in fuller length, and Malan digs it out to mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, that's a fact. Moeen Ali straight from the 100. He played nicely at Lords. Probably better with the ball than he was with the bat, but he looked good with the bat, didn't get the big score. And look at Malan here, he's foot 36 not out, 83 balls, he's batted with great control and patience so far. So they're absolutely right, it's all about the mind, switching on.
You have to concentrate for long periods. Malan waits with his bat poised, little flex of the knees as Bumrah comes in now and bowls, and he's driving, it doesn't time it. He wasn't the most secure of shots. Up to short extra cover, and he rehearses the stroke. Felt there was a little bit of width there. 2:26 for 2. Yeah, I saw Hargarden side bottom up there in the box, enjoying themselves, entertaining with a few stories.
Yeah, I'm sure they're having a good day. I think they were here yesterday as well.
Bumrah, 5th ball with this new ball around the wicket into Malan. He lets that one go, and it's angled from around the wicket. Goes past and then across him, and Rishabh Pant moves across to his right-hand side to gather the ball in his gloves.
Dancing in the terrace now. I think that end segment, is that the official fancy dress section of the stand?
I think it's got to be, hasn't it? That's where the greatest concentration of bananas, fruits and cartoon characters.
Yeah, and the day glows, what they just... Are they cones?
I was going to say they might be traffic cones.
Yeah.
But there's
Teletubbies at the bottom on the right.
A bunch of bananas who have sort of segregated themselves, I can see, in the stand next door. Bumrah in full, driven by Malan beautifully and with great authority out through the covers for 4. And that is appreciated by the Western Terrace. He's picked the ball, Malan. He's on to 40 and the lead 152 now.
Oh, he's classy, Malan, when he's in this kind of rhythm. That's a shot that we see him play so often in T20 cricket, just orthodox, driving the ball on length, just holding his shape, using that top hand to just glide it into the gap. Tremendous batting. He's moved to 40 again without really any element of risk, which is a good sign for the England team. Yeah, the Teletubbies there at the front. Where else do we go? There seems to be the bananas seem to go quite popular this summer.
Every match there's a bunch, isn't there?
Yeah, there's quite a big bunch here at Headingley.
It will be Mohammad Shami from the rugby stand end of the ground, showing the new ball duties with Jasprit Bumrah. Root's on 45 and he's facing up. 2 slips and the gully behind him. They lean forward now as Shami rushes in. It's on leg stump, clipped away by Root. Fraction behind square. Ishant Sharma is moving across to his left from his position at fine leg. Root comes back for the second as he moves on to 47.
Well, you just feel that wickets may fall because of obviously the hardness of the second new ball, but you just know that the scoreboard's going to tick now. It's like, right, England, you've done your work, you've set the foundation. Indian bowlers will be a little bit tired now. They know it could be a long day, so they're probably wary of giving it absolutely everything in this first spell, because they'll need to be required to come back for a second and potentially a third spell. Cash in time if you're an England batter.
Root is absolutely in the mood for it. He's on 47. Shami is in now, forces it away on the earth. Now this will be 4 more, and it'll be 50 for the England captain. A remarkable run of form for Joe Root. He does not let his team down, and it is the 51st 50 of his Test match career, and he's reaching this landmark on his home ground, and Headingley is rising to their feet. One of their own, and Joe Root is raising his bat, accepting the plaudits.
Yeah, there's a few white rose flags being waved around as well. Can he double this up? Great chance for him to go and get 3 figures once again. What a shot that is. I reckon that's Joe's trademark, when his feet are in the air and he's punching it off the back foot through the covers. Alright, we like his cover drive, but I love that back foot punch.
There's an element of fun almost to that shot. This one on the pads once more from Shami, and Root again works it behind square. Another 2. A really productive over for this one, for Root and for England.
Could be carnage this time.
Shami's rather wasting this new ball. I mean, those 2 sort of on the pads, angled towards leg, it's far too easy for Root.
Well, the length was right in terms of where it should pitch in terms of the fullness, but it was just too straight, and when it's been on the right line, it's been too short. He's yet to bowl that perfect ball, which is just on and around off stump, full of length. I think this is going to be fun.
That second innings at Lords is the only time this series when he hasn't managed to get past 50, and Root forward now, taking a single, and into 54. 239 for 2. England's lead 161, and a couple of deliveries now for David Malan to negotiate from Mohammad Shami. We've got the numbers on Joe Root's 50, Andy.
Yes, 57 balls reached with his 7th 4, also 6 twos in that. And once again, his facility at manoeuvring the ball around the field. It's his 73rd score of 50 or more in Test cricket. 22 of them he's converted into centuries, including 5 of the previous 6 this year. It's his 18th 50-plus score against India in just 23 Tests. He averages just under 62 against them.
Incredible numbers. Shami around the wicket now as the left-handed. Malan turned to min-wicket to no run. Well, Malan looking for 50 himself here. He's 10 runs away. Looking at his scores in Tests, because of the 16 matches that he played before being dropped in 2018, he had scored 6 50s plus the century in Perth. 2 of the 6 had come on home soil, both of those against the West Indies, Birmingham, and one here at Leeds where he scored 61. And Shami's in again, a little wider outside the off stump and left well alone by Malan, so he stays on 40, end of the over. Root will be on strike for the next on 54, and the lead 161, helped in no small part by a flurry of runs off the bat of Root during that over.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got a player like Joe Root who's in such great form, he's 54 not out of 59 balls, and then you take the second new ball, and already inside 2 overs we've seen it's not going to do a great deal. The odd ball will seam. It doesn't look like it's the kind of afternoon where it's going to be hooping all over the place, and that scoreboard is going to race away from India. Already has, really, in terms of the context of the game. 161, England are in front. How many overs left today, Andy?
50 left, just on Root against Shami. Matchup which is not going tremendously well for the Indians. Seema Root scored 17 from 10 balls from him today. Shami, the rest of the day, 44 deliveries, just 5 runs against England's other batsmen.
Bumrah is still looking for his first wicket of the match here as he's in. Joe angling it towards point, says no to Malan from the far end. And what it's also doing is setting things up brilliantly for Bairstow, Butler, Moeen, because the sort of lead England ought to have by the time they come in should actually allow those players to play with some real flair if given the opportunity. Yeah,
they're the kind of batting lineup England that if they get in a position of dominance, I think they're absolutely fine. You know, they've always been a bit vulnerable when the pressure's on, i.e. the last day at Lord's when the pressure was really hot. You know, a few techniques were exposed and a few mindsets were exposed, but in this situation, you know, that engine room is
Bumrah full to Root, came forward, just pressed defensively and take a quick single. It's a deep backward point. Fielder comes in off the boundary and he set off so quick there could have been maybe 2 in it, but probably well judged in the end for just the one. 240 for 2.
Yeah, that engine room now has got the platform to just go on and really play,
and that'll be massively entertaining for this crowd to watch.
I mean, the lead's going to be over 300 by the end of the day's play.
What a position that would be for England. Still got 8 wickets in hand. So it doesn't feel as if there's going to be a clatter, does it? You know, at the start of the day you always wondered and thought, well, new day, fresher bowlers, could they come back with different plans, make something happen? But England have been dominant with the bat so far. Bumrah, 2 slips and a gully for Malan. Around the wicket he goes, fires one into the pads. Malan quickly setting off for a single into the onside and gets there. 2 good athletes out in the middle, pushing and pressing India and making sure the fielders are under pressure.
Yeah, I like this, and in particular they're picking the right fielders. You know, Ishant Sharma, big chap, takes him a bit of time to get down to any ball low down to his feet, so England always know there's a quick single there. Pujara, they seem to be challenging in the field. Shami, they're challenging in the field. You know, apart from Jadeja, really, I think when Indian fielding side is just okay, so you can push them.
Bumrah is in past the umpire, over the wicket now, forward, and that's beaten. Joe Root, very belated raising of the bat in the air, but he's shaking his head, rather unimpressed with himself. I think he's having a few words to himself quietly. The ball was angled in, he moved away off the seam and into the gloves of Rishabh Pant, and it's a belated no ball. So there's the electronic signal that's then reached the umpire's wrist, a device that comes through to watch on their wrist. Bumrah is having to bowl this ball again. Root on 55, the lead 164. Bumrah in now to Root full, and he makes good contact with this, angles it down towards deep third, goes through for 1. And the lead extending to 165. England 243 for 2. Alistair Cook is back alongside.
Good afternoon. What an opportunity for an England batsman here to go massive.
You wouldn't mind being out there one of those days?
One of those days. I think probably Joe Root would be the worst player as a opposition captain in this situation to walk out after 60 overs when you've been bowled out for 70 odd. So number 4 batsman, always looking to take the positive option, always looking to score. The field spread, the field they had with the new ball. You think you can't stop Joe Root scoring.
Bumrah, ball back of a length, bouncer for Malan, but doesn't trouble him. It's well wide outside the off stump.
Yeah, and you don't often get a period of time as a batsman where this situation happens, where you can just bat as long as you want. In this situation now, after bowling India out in 3.5 hours or so, 4 hours, time is just not any equation whatsoever. If England are batting by the end of tomorrow,
out of 600,
well, exactly.
just keep going.
Obviously they would bowl by the end of tomorrow, but they've got this opportunity to bat for a huge amount of time.
What a luxury. Bumrah is in. Fuller just cut back in a touch on Malan. He's defending. And Bumrah fields in his follow through to end the over. The lead is 165. England 243 for 2. Malan on 41 and Root on 56. Some drinks are being brought out onto the field. Gives me a chance to mention the bunting's been out in my home village, Alistair, today, because my home village has a Paralympic champion. Maisie Summers-Newton, 19 years of age, has won gold in 200 metres medley, beating Ellie Simmons, who was her hero. So, little shout out to my home village in Northamptonshire. Smashed the world record along the way. So I know there's a lot of very proud people there today.
And congratulations to her. Are you going to take any credit in her gold?
Completely not. Absolutely not. But no, there's a lot of people very excited about that. And why not? I think victories like that get celebrated, don't they, by the home community?
And they should do as well.
Yeah. And speaking of which, didn't Headingley rise to Joe Root, watching England captain, Yorkshireman, on his home ground, another 50. Just incredible. And he's looked at ease, but not just at ease, he's looked busy and purposeful and scored at a really good rate since he's come out.
He has, and he took the option of being, I'm not saying ultra aggressive, but just to put the initiative back on India, walking out with 60. I think it's in the 63rd over he walked out to bat. And knowing in Joe's mind, I've got 17 overs to bat before the new ball. I'm going to get myself, go straight away. And it's just looked his tempo of batting. And I've always, when I was played with him, when he was playing at absolute best, which is probably like this or in that Pakistan series in 2016 when he got that double 100, I just stood in a kind of amazement how easy he found to keep his scoreboard ticking over. I think that's what really separates the great players. I remember watching Mohammed Yusuf in 2006 get a double 100 at Lords, and I looked up and he was on 30. Then he gets his 100, and then you look up again to 130. You can't really remember any of the shots he played, but just an incredibly hard player to tie down. And he's not a massive hitter. He's not like, I'm kind of comparing Yisayan and Joe Root because they're not like big power players, are they? They don't take on the fielders as in, say, an Alex Hales. I know it's a different format, but it's all about timing, all about placement, all about rhythm, and it's exactly what England need. And he could. Although he's batting quickly, if he gets his real greedy head on like he did in that Sri Lanka series in the beginning of the year, there's no reason why he can't get a huge score. And Malan's in the same boat. He can just bat and bat and bat. What a lovely introduction for Malan.
Well, to be batting alongside Root back in the side, and he'll be a very calm and measured head to have out there between overs.
Yeah, it's amazing what a little bit of luck as well happens. He'd been under pressure a little bit, coming back, nerves the debut, win the toss yesterday, lose the toss yesterday. Could have been batting in tougher conditions if, say, the toss went the other way. He's not. He's batting in on a good wicket with a great opening partnership after Burns and Mahmeed, and a side with bowled out for 78, which are down on the dumps. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to go big as a player and grab the opportunity he's been given back in the side.
Yep, he's 9 away from a 50 and Root on 56. So the two of them have already put on 84 runs together. Drinks then just about coming to an end. The fielding team, Indians, are dispersing, getting ready to bowl again. Andy Zaltzman has got something, and then Aggers is coming in here to join you, Alistair.
Well, to illustrate what Alistair was saying about Joe Root's batting and the incredible skill he has at keeping the scoreboard moving, he's scored from 26 of his 63 balls. That's 41% of the deliveries he's faced so far. All the other batsmen in the match combined have scored off just 16% of the deliveries they've faced. So basically the rest of the batsmen in this game have averaged 1 scoring shot per over, and Joe Root is averaging 2.5 scoring shots per over.
There we go. What was yours, Cookie? I'm sure Andy will tell you.
I'm going to go for 0.8 and over. What do you reckon?
Sounds a bit high to me. 243 for 2. I'll be looking at Root's wagon wheel downstairs. Guess how many runs he's scored straight?
0.
Correct. And guess where there isn't a field.
Well, I've been looking at the field being set here for Shami. He's going to get him out now. I was like, you can't, with this field, you cannot stop Joe Root scoring.
No, you can't. I don't understand the field that they're setting at all. Shami's on the way, and he bowls to Root, who just pushes it away. Well, I'm not going to say it, but
yes, we got one. We got one right, Hag.
We did.
We called it right.
But I just don't understand it, because all the analysts must have been watching, and Kohli's at first slip. I mean, it seems Root scores so many runs in this series.
Well, he scores when he's playing as well as there. He scores so many runs between point and third man.
Yeah.
So, so you do want a bit of cover there, and I can half understand the deep point. I can half understand it. But where he's fielding that, he's probably 30 yards, 40 yards behind square. They've got 2 slips and then an extra covers. They've got no fielder with it 60 yards to cover. And that was a good ball by Shami. He just blocked it, got 1.
Shami rushes in again, bowls, and Malan's going to get runs here. Beautifully steered, very fine. Down to third man for 4 runs. And Shami's got his hands on his hips. Wasn't a bad ball, but it was just very well played. A little bit of width. He ran it away safely. And just to finish off the Root thing, they've got a mid-on and mid-off for him. Yeah. They never touch the ball. Or very rarely, anyway.
Yeah, so like Joe Root must have been licking his lips, because actually that was Shami bowled the best ball he could probably bowl with a pretty flat wicket on day 2. Just drops it for 1. As soon as he then misses that length, Joe Root will then look to play a slightly more aggressive shot, and he's got huge area to score from. That man on the boundary is almost irrelevant, because unless he goes straight to him, he's not stopping the boundary.
Shami around the wicket, bowls, and Malan leads back with a wonderful stroke. Glorious square drive. Really was. He hit that blistering power, searing over the outfield into the boundary. He's played a beautiful cover drive a couple of overs ago, front foot, and now this more back foot. Wonderful strokes he's playing.
Glorious cut shot. It was short and wide, and we see how strong he is there. And minimal fuss, wasn't it, as well? Not extravagant at all, but he's hit it really hard. And a little bit of a word for actually Hamid this morning, actually. And these are almost his runs he's missing out on, but he's earned the right for these guys to have an easier passage. So his job was well and truly done.
Shami bowls, and he thinks about a single. He punches the ball to mid-on, but Malan says no.
Because although he only scored 8 and maybe didn't quite get his balance right between attack and defence, he used up all those balls of Bumrah bowling. He bowled very well at him. Yeah. All that energy, and he's not bowling quite as well now. And he's certainly, after this spell that Bumrah and Shami have got, he ain't going to fancy bowling their third spell after tea, are they?
Well, they'll be tired. The sun's out, I think, for the first time today. Which is great. Lighting up Headingley. Glistening off the roof at the far end as Shami rushes in and bowls, and Malan a little squared up, looks to work that into the leg side, but didn't quite time it this time. It's picked up at mid-on. It's all building up over there by the sounds of it.
Have they been louder today?
I don't think they've been louder today, because it's been a quieter day on the field, isn't it? Yesterday all the wickets are tumbling and so on, so I think probably they were a bit louder yesterday, but they had a great time in there. Full house here. As Shami scurries up once again, goes round the wicket, bowls, and Malan time is on the front foot, playing the ball calmly to mid-wicket. And that's the end of the over. The lead is 174. And still lots of cricket left today. 48 overs remain to be bowled.
We won't see all them, though, will we, Aggers?
Doubt it. batting to come too, with Robinson down at number 10. There's a lot there, isn't there?
There is. And quite a few of them are quite, you'd say, could be quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity. I mean, aggressive or not, it's just all about how many, isn't it, in the next 90 odd overs, you'd say, as if England are batting tomorrow at tea. Well, you know, that's what you'd look for, wouldn't you, in this situation?
Yes,
like, if you could England bat and just bat well once. You know, I said this morning, England bat today, they were going to win the game, and they're well on the way to doing it. Get a bit greedy and really kill the game off.
Bumrah's on his way and bowls to Root, who drives him out towards extra cover. There's no run. They do have a gully now. He's polishing the ball at the moment. 252 for 2. Root on 57. Wonderful stroke to bring up his half century too. That square drive off the back foot. He plays so well, and he makes it look so easy, and yet that is a difficult shot to play. I'd love to be able to play a shot like that.
I'm not going to say anything.
But does he play it so beautifully? I mean, if you wanted to say that is how you play that particular stroke, there's no one better. Now, this is outside the off stump. He's played it again. 4 runs through point. Fine shot. Then played with a vertical bat. It's not a cut shot. It's a forcing shot with a vertical bat, which plays so square. That bottom hand coming in. I mean, that's just makes it look so ridiculously easy.
Yeah, and absolutely. The timing of it, as we're watching the replay here, there's no twist of the bat in his hand as he hits the ball. It's just a full face coming straight through, and India have to drag Joe Root forward. You have to, in a mood like this, you have to make him drive. There is very little margin for error.
Bumrah bowls to him. That is a fuller length, and Root lets it go by.
You have to get him on the front foot. You cannot allow him to bowl. You allow yourself to be dragged into that slightly back of the length ball, because he will hurt you, and he has hurt them. You know, he's scoring almost a run a ball.
I wonder how he does, or how he did learn that shot in the first place, because he just plays it so well and so often
and so naturally as well. Isn't it? Like,
I mean, they're not bad balls necessarily. They're a bit of width and they're a bit short, but
they're not that.
They're not long hops. Not cuttable.
No,
that's why he plays it with a straight bat. Bumrah again, a big jump, and there's that fuller length. That's a good ball. This Root allows to pass by outside his off stump, but only just.
Possibly a shot, say, Hamid could look at and go, I wonder if I could get that in my game, because he lines up quite similar to Joe Root in terms of his alignment and plays very straight and late. And a lot of those balls that Bumrah bowled at Hamid, he wouldn't even look to score it. I wonder if that could be. It's not a cut shot, it's just a slightly forcing shot. I wonder if that could be an area he could practice, keep banging away, practice that in the nets, and kind of expand his game a little bit.
Bumrah bowls, and that's pushed by Root up to extra cover again.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, I'm not saying you're going to get him out by bowling fuller, but you'd much rather see Joe Root play a cover drive if you are the captain against him than a back foot push for 4. I mean, he can play the drive. I'm not saying you can't play the cover drive. It's just that's where you'd want to see him play.
Well, it comes back to what we're saying. I'm trying to make him play straight down the ground, which is what it's not his natural game. 256 for 2. Root's waiting. Gully's still there. There's 2 slips, quite spread out. As Bumrah moves in, bowls full, he drives again slightly across that pad, a bit crookedly, he curses there. That didn't quite go as he had planned, but he's batting so well. His confidence is absolutely brimful. 61 not out. Malan's 49 not out, and well played him too on his return to Test cricket.
If Malan can get this one extra run to reach his 50, it'll be the first time since March 2013 that England's top 4 have all made half centuries in the same innings, and the first time here at Leeds since 1948 against Australia, when England's top 4 all reached 50 in both innings, and England lost.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so 2013 March, where were we? Don't tell me, I've got to try and work.
Shami, and he bowls a bouncer. Malan ducks underneath that.
Where were we, Aggies?
In March 2013.
Yeah.
In March, it must have been in the West
New Zealand?
Indies,
West Indies. When did we go to when was the Watford Wall? When was
Dunedin.
Dunedin, was that 2012? No. 2012 it was. Or no, it was right. It's New Zealand.
My memory just...
Yeah, I'm going 2013. New Zealand, that's what I'm
me.
going for. I can't remember which game, but that's what... I mean, it's not that impressive to work out what tour it was, but...
Shami's on his way round the wicket bowls, and Malan's edged it, and I don't think it quite carried to Pant. It didn't. And that was a moment of fortune, because the bowler did everything right, the batsman nicked it, but for some reason the ball didn't quite carry to the keeper. It's died on the pitch, and Malan's lucky there, because that really, under normal circumstances, would have been caught behind.
Yeah, quite a similar shot to what he played actually an over before, where he did guide it past second slip, but this one he was playing the same kind of shot, but he got an outside edge rather than hitting the middle of the bat. Yeah, they can't quite work out why that hasn't carried.
No, that's just a bad luck for the bowler, isn't it? It just died on the pitch. First time I've seen that before. They've had to move the camera away from behind the mobile camera. Shami's on his way then. Malan wants one for his 50. There it is. Well played.
Local boy.
50 not out. Returning to Test cricket to come and do a job, and he's done it, or he's doing it. His 7th Test 50 to go with that 100 that he scored in Perth against Australia.
Very well played. Lovely situation to come back into the Test team, and he's making it count. He was making it count. He's looked at home.
Yeah.
It's very calm, collected, very simple technique, as we've seen. Doesn't get forward too much, but his weight balance when he's playing well is fantastic. And knowing him like I do, he knows that's just half a job, isn't he? He knows what an opportunity he has got here to go and get another 100.
Shami rushes in and bowls to Root, who drives a little uppishly there. Didn't quite control that. He picks up one to extra cover. The fielder there again, too straight.
But the last couple of balls have been full away India, and he was crossed himself the other day, as you said, coming across the ball to one from Bumrah there. He didn't quite time it as nice as he would have done off the back foot. So it's quite an obvious place where India need to bowl at Joe Root now.
Two balls left in this over. Malan 50 not out. He's faced 99 balls. And there's his 100th. He's worked away into the leg side. They'll just get one. There are two fielders out on that boundary to our right-hand side. 259 for two.
100 partnership? 100 partnership, I think. I was trying to work out what the clapping was.
In 22.5 overs.
Well, that's quite a rate too, isn't it? Under the way this game has been played. They've really rattled along. Root scored 62 of them from 71 balls. It's 100 from 138 balls. What can India do? Shami bowls and Root drives straight to the man there at extra cover this time. Again, looks disappointed with the shot, as if he's missed out again, but I think he's expecting to play with such perfection at the moment that any slight minuscule mistake or blemish and he's not happy, he's cursing himself.
Malan's half century, 99 balls, 8 fours. As Aga said, it's his 8th score of 50 or more in Test cricket, 100 amongst that, which is also the only time in his previous 7 50-plus scores that he's got past 65. His last 50 was the final innings of the series in New Zealand in March 2018. He had just 5 innings the next summer before being dropped after a productive winter.
Sweaters being brought out. It's a bit of a chilly breeze out there.
It was that Dunedin game that in March 2013, the last time England's top 4 all reached 50, one of whom was Stephen Finn as night watchman.
Yes. He certainly ground that one out, didn't he?
He was on he was on an incentive scheme with me, he was, for that innings.
Sharma is into the attack and starts a very wide ball outside the off stump that Malan ignores. Incentive scheme for what? Just to go out and bat and take time?
No, if he he got kind of rewarded for however many balls he faced. If he faced 30 balls, he got this 60 balls.
see.
I don't know actually how many balls he ended up on, but I know it cost me a little bit towards the end.
203 balls.
Yeah. How was he out?
LBW bowled by Bryce Martin, the left arm spinner. Bruce Martin.
Bruce Martin.
I think we all ran him out. He wasn't exactly pushing the game on.
That was last day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were batting to save the game,
Right,
I think.
It was very well played, Stephen. He's my birthday twin. And goes... Sharma bowls outside the off stump, and there's no stroke. Isha's coming in here.
They change of bowling for India, and Bumrah might switch ends, but Ishant Sharma's coming down the hill, still lacking that rhythm that he had at Lords. He struggled so far in this innings, and it's all just going quite nicely for England. Good afternoon,
Alistair. Yeah, I think these fans are enjoying this partnership as well here at Headingley. An adopted Yorkshireman in Davin Malan and Joe Root, homegrown, as Malan is on strike. Left-hander. Ishant Sharma bowls, guides it past third slip down to the third man boundary. That was very deliberate. There is a wide third man, but not able to catch it, as Malan, very calculated in the way he played that, moves to 55, 264 for 2.
Yeah, he's played a couple of those the last 20 minutes or so. One he got slightly wrong, got it very fine. He didn't quite carry to pan, but he did edge that one. This one was right at the middle of the bat, almost a one-day shot. That one down for one, down to third man in a one-day to keep rotating the strike. But if you can play with that control in a test match, you get rewarded for it. And certainly with this field, they've got two slips and that kind of very squarish third man, extra cover and mid-off, so no points. So you've got, again, 50, 60 yards to hit into.
Sharma around the wicket again. Malan is on the back foot, just guiding it out to that wide third for a single. Casually comes through for one, moves to 56, 265 for 2, a lead of 187. England batting India out of this game at the moment on day 2 here of the third test match. England 1-0 down in the series. We talk about that stroke down to third man. Joe Root's played it a couple of times. Think of some of the best test players in the world. Kane Williamson likes to dab it down to third every now and then.
Yeah, it's a great shot to have, like to have the control to be able to do it, because most time in Test cricket there are 2-3 slips of gully. It's not actually a shot you play too often because of that. But when there isn't a point, and they've got this, you've earned the right to do it. It's a great way of rotating the strike.
Here comes Sharma, Root, lunging forwards and defends. You did think about playing the drive to that stroke because there is space in the cover region. The man had a cover but quite square, and then mid-off in position as well. And another no ball signalled, this time Ishant Sharma overstepping the mark. Ishant Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah are serial offenders when it comes to that front foot.
That's the second this over. The first ball was also called no ball.
Sandy. Still quite dark here in Headingley. Grey skies above as Root forwards looking to drive straight down the pitch, slightly fuller from Sharma, and hits the inner part of the bat, squeezes it towards mid-on, who takes the ball.
Sharma's really struggling, and he's, I think, me talking about bowling is probably quite funny, but with the hill pushing him down, he's trying to slow himself down, I think, in his run-up, so he doesn't get through to the crease too early. Almost he's too ready to bowl, if that makes sense, because the hill pushes you. So he's trying to hold himself back, but it looks like he's got no momentum. He's almost gone too slow, no momentum to get through the crease to bowl.
I don't know whether he's got a little niggle as well, because he looked quite slow walking back to his mark. Almost ginger as he bowls full to Root again, who's looking to drive but finds mid-on once more.
You could be right. He doesn't look right, does he?
No, he doesn't. He hasn't looked right since the first ball that he bowled yesterday. It looks like a laborious
great word
stroll back. It's giving a little bit of a shine now. Very tall in stature as Ishant Sharma, as crouches forwards.
places the ball in his hands. Now into his right hand as he's in past the stumps. Root whips the ball away through mid-wicket. Vacant mid-wicket as deep square runs round to collect it. He'll push for 2 and will sprint back for the 3rd as well. Lots of energy there as the ball nearly cleans Joe Root up in the process. Sent in from the boundary. And he had to get himself out of the way. I think it hit him on the glove or maybe the bat as he moves to 65, 269 for 2, lead of 191.
Well, I think Ishant caught it, but he thought he was going to get wiped out. So Ishant stuck out an arm, amazingly what kind of a one-handed grab. But Ruti thought he was going to get the ball, as you said, wiped. Take a throw over, threw it in, rocket hard. And Ishant just caught it, and then Ruti was like expecting to get hit, and he did quite well to stay up actually.
All with a smile on his face. Although at times in this innings, there's been a real look of determination and almost ruthlessness, berating himself when he hasn't got the shot that he's wanted, or played it how he'd like to. And throughout this series, we have seen this jovial nature come back to Joe Root, with all the pressures of the captaincy and everything going on around him, losing Ben Stokes, the injuries, Stuart Broad leaving the tour, Mark Wood, and you just felt like he was doing that deliberately just to make all the younger players feel a lot more relaxed out in the middle. But today there just seems to be a sense of ruthlessness about the way he's going about his business, knowing that England have to really capitalise on the position they're in as Siraj comes in from the rugby stand end and Root drives, finds its way to almost a forward point there, no run.
43 from 7 overs since India took the new ball.
Well, it can bring wickets, but it can also bring runs.
Yeah, the hardness has made it easier at time. I have noticed that a lot of the bowlers are talking. Rahane at mid-off is doing a lot of the talking to the bowler, where Kohli for the last kind of half an hour or so hasn't done any.
Kohli at slip as Root guides past. Forced it down to 3rd. Jasprit Bumrah down there. Speeds in to collect the ball and throws it in. Comes through for a single. Root 66, 270 for 2, lead of 192.
Rahane's going up to him now and talking. I did mention it a while ago, didn't we, with I don't know, it was this series or the India series away from home. Maybe it wasn't on this on TMS, but you know, after Kohli went away from Australia and Rahane captain there, and there was that little bit of talk of Kohli being under pressure as the players kind of quite like Rahane's style. So maybe what happens when it doesn't go well.
Siraj bowls to Malan, who's defending to the offside. Siraj jumps across the pitch to stop the ball. Full slip in position, 3rd on the boundary. And Kohli is standing with his legs spread, looking at the Western Terrace at the moment, who are in full voice. Ajinkya Rahane again next to Siraj at mid-off. And I mean, very different styles in the way they go about their business. After that 36 all-out, India needed some sort of performance on the back of it at the MCG. I mean, everyone on that tour thought that's going to be the end of India after that batting performance as Siraj comes in now to Malan, who calmly defends back down the pitch. Siraj shapes to throw, and David Malan steps back in his crease, nearly onto the stumps, but moves out of the way. And it was that very calm way of going about his business that just helped bring the team together, Ajinkya Rahane. I think he gave the responsibility to the players as well. Jasprit Bumrah stepped up, Ashwin as well, as Siraj passed the stumps to Malan, clips it in between mid-on and mid-wicket. There'll be a chase on for Rahane now, out to the deep mid-wicket boundary, and it'll reach the fence. That was beautifully played from Malan as he goes to 60. That lead 196 now for England, 274 for 2.
A glorious clip through mid-on, mid-wicket, that gap. It was a lovely ball to get as a left-hander on the leg stump, and good players don't miss out on those. Occasionally you might miss the gap, but he hit it absolutely spot on. And the runs just keep coming. India cannot stop this flow of runs with this new ball.
Malan looks to pull the ball, a short one from Siraj. It misses his bat. as he swivels and falls in front of Rishabh Pant behind the stumps. End of the over, 274 for 2. 8 overs have been bowled from this second new ball. Lead of 196, Malan 60 and Root 66.
Stats update. England's top 4 have now all reached 60. It's only the 9th time in England's Test history their top 4 has all reached 60. The first time since the Colombo Test in April 2012.
Wow.
First time at home since Bangladesh at Lords in 2005.
That is significant, isn't it? I mean, he was bringing all the duck stats to us in the last Test match, Alistair, which was dismal listening.
Week is a long time.
It is.
In sport, isn't it?
It's crazy, isn't it? How it all changes, and just by having Davin Malan coming back into the side with that experience, Hasib Hamid, who's been in good form in domestic cricket, as Sharma comes in, Root leaves outside the off stump.
It is. And bowling the opposition out for 78, getting ahead of the game. The pressure's off the batsman, and it goes to Burns and Hamid. Had to take a lot of credit for the way they played yesterday. The only way India were getting back in this game was taking 3, 4, 5 wickets yesterday in that period of play, and they just never looked. Well, they didn't give him a chance. They gave him one chance, right at the end. Hamid getting to his 50 a nick, but it was up to that stage. It was fantastic batting, and just laid the platform. Laid the platform for what's going to be a very big first innings score.
Runs in pockets for Virat Kohli at first slip. Ajinkya Rahane at cover at the moment as Ishant Sharma pushes in to Root, who tucks his away out to deep square for a single, comes through for 1, moves to 67, 275 for 2, lead of 197. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, that one, as we see the shift in field for the left-hander with it will be interesting to see how this game plays out in terms of Virat Kohli just giving Ajinkya Rahane that added responsibility just to take over for a little bit here as Ishant Sharma into his stride to Malan, forwards defending to the offside. There is a deep point, so he comes through quickly for a single and moves to 61, 276 for 2, lead of 198. Alistair Cook is out. In comes Ebony Rain for Brent. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I realise I'm getting old, reaching over to put my microphone on and nearly put my back out. But I'm here.
Well, you have had a bad back for a long time.
Yeah, all those years of dodgy bowling. Well, this game is looking way too easy, isn't it? India look lost. Ishant Sharma, a couple of no balls. Not found his line or length, not brought Joe Root forward enough. Yeah, really up against it.
As Sharma passes the stumps to Root, who clips that out to deep backward square, fine leg running around. They'll stop coming back for the 2 as the throw is sent in. Cheteshwar Pujara out there. It's quick to the ball. And sent in hard and flat, so just the 1 to Root, who moves to 68, lead of 199 now.
Just one more thing on Malan's half century. It's the first 50 by an England number 3 since Zach Crawley's 267 in the final innings of last summer. So 10 tests have passed without England's number 3 reaching 50. Bairstow had a couple of games there, Dan Lawrence, and Crawley and Hamid at Lords.
Taps his bat down now, Davin Malan. Now stump high, forward and driving out to deep point as he'll come through for 1. Pujara off the boundary quickly, gets the throw in, and a lead of 200 for England, 278 for 2. Malan on 62, Root 68. There's appreciation here from this Headingley crowd who is predominantly supporting England, and the Western Terrace, which has simmered down ever so slightly. Well, they are just starting to ramp up again now, Ebony.
Yeah, and so they should. Let's not forget, only a few days ago, everybody was worried about whether England were going to be under mental pressure, struggling off the back of that loss. Well, they've come out, they've fought, and their biggest weakness, the batting, looks rejuvenated.
Well, the TV pictures putting out one of Virat Kohli with the slogan "Feel it all" in the background. He is feeling it as Sharma bowls to Root, who's covering the ball to the offside, no run. He does ask Davin Malan the question as to whether he wants to come through for one, but he says no. So end of the over, 278 for 2. 9 overs have been bowled. The second new ball. Malan 62, Root 68. Partnership worth 119.
Could be an interesting time now if Malan grabs this number 3. The way he's performed, he knows a lot of the players. There's quite a few 3-format players in the side. He's clearly got the confidence that he's delivered in white ball, under pressure, under a lot of scrutiny. And the fact that he just comes and slips in, that he handles pressure really well.
Yeah, they're just taking a drink on at the moment. But you think 2 more test matches in this series and then it's the Ashes. So you'd have to do really badly to be moved out of that spot and someone else to come back in for the Ashes, given that he did do okay in the last Ashes. He scored that century at Perth. Someone who knows his own game, listening to Alistair Cook say that the last time he was in test kit, he probably didn't believe that he belonged at this level, but now with the way he's played in the international T20s and one-dayers, he's just got this belief about him that he belongs at this level. As Siraj comes in, pulls the ball, does Davin Malan down to fine leg and comes through for 1. Short ball that Siraj has been happy to use today. 279 for 2, lead of 201.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of things going for him, hasn't he? Technically, it helps that he's pretty well organised. I think the likes of people like Sibley and Burns, they always throws up an additional, if you're slightly out of form and then your timing of all the little parts are out, it can make it harder. Well, he's got it's pretty uncomplicated, isn't it? He likes his rundown shot, he likes his offside, he can handle the ball above the hip, shorter ball.
Change in tack then for Siraj. Pujara's moved out of mid-wicket into a leg gully. Fine leg still on the boundary, deep backward square. Another mid-wicket in position from the offside. He was moved quite square. A slip. Sharma's going to head down to the 3rd man boundary and a deep backward point. So this field says to me short stuff, and he's going to come round the wicket, Siraj, to the England captain. He's just opening his stance ever so slightly. Bit of aggression as Siraj bowls wide down the leg side. That short one bowled into the pitch.
The funniest thing about all of that is actually that the umpire looked at the tactics and thought, I'm getting myself out the firing line, and ran all the way across from square leg to point. He was like, I know what's coming. Get me out of here.
Time for a barrage. This reminds me of Steve Smith at Manchester during the Ashes 2 years ago, as Siraj steams in, short ball, Root takes it on but falls in front of fine leg. Ishant Sharma collects the ball just to bounce into his hands as Root moves to 69, 280 for 2, lead of 202. It is a good ploy because he does like to play the pull shot, and that was pretty much helmet high as it came up. He had to really raise his bat and try and keep it down, Joe Root. But Steve Smith was scoring runs for fun, and it was a relatively slow wicket, but they had to try the short ball barrage at some point to see, if they could unsettle him, and they didn't. Just made themselves more tired as Siraj bowls to Malan, who clips it down to fine leg, just off his hip. Comes through for 1.
I'm surprised they haven't tried a short tactic earlier in the game, to be honest. Almost why not, whether you decide to put in a short leg or whether you decide, as they're doing now, which is clearly going to be bang it in, make him think. You've got to make sure it's head height or a height that he wants to play at and get him thinking. But it's felt actually like they haven't made any real clear plans.
Especially when you've got full seamers. And Siraj, he is a very versatile cricketer. He can bowl the full swinging deliveries. He can bowl a good length. He can also bowl the short stuff as he comes in now to Root, who's pushing forwards and guiding the ball to Gully. So a change in the field there as third man came up and comes scuttling through for one. Root to 70, 282 for two, and a lead of 204. But yeah, I'm with you. I actually thought they could have tried it to Haseeb Hameed a little earlier while he was just getting settled. So yesterday. And then they did use it a bit more later on today. Final ball of the over then. And then it'll be Dan Norcross. Siraj bowls and Malan. Solid defence back down the pitch. England in a very, very commanding position here at Headingley on day 2. 282 for 2. A lead of 204. Malan 64. Root 70. A few words from you, Emily, and then it will be Dan. Looking good in green.
He's loving his green. First of all, I think one thing that's also dangerous here for India is just the rate at England's scoring. They came out in those first 7 overs after the new ball going at a run rate of around 6 and have just kept things ticking. So not only are England putting up resistance, they're taking the game away with some positive batting. So Dan, it's all looking pretty ominous for India at the moment.
It's horrible, isn't it? I think England have found themselves in this position against Australia a few times, when it just seems you just don't know what you can do as a lead is being racked up. England are 204 ahead, and they've only lost 2 first innings wickets. They've got no need to even think about getting on with it because they're going at a perfectly good pace. And there are 3 days and a session and a bit to go. That is the situation as Sharma starts a new over. Short, pulled by Root out to deep square leg for a single. I refrained from telling you the field, actually, and it was an extraordinary one before that ball was bowled. 283 for 2. If Root comes back on strike, well, let's see what the field is to Malan. It could be equally baroque. It's people scattered far and wide. There's a deep backward point, and there's about to be what looks like almost like a fly slip or a deep third. It's quite a fine third. No, it sort of is a fly slip, isn't it, Ebony?
It is a fly slip, and he's got a traditional fine leg.
Yeah.
Squares going quite dead on square. They're all moving.
It's Brownian motion out there. I suppose it's a way of not getting through the overs because they have ground to a halt. The over rate has, at any rate. So now we've got someone who's not saving one, but is on a line towards long leg. So more than half the way back. There's one person saving one on the offside. The fly slip, the deep backward point. Sharma round the wicket. So Malan bowls short, as you'd expect with this field. And then there's a mid-wicket that's probably not saving one if it was dabbed into the onside. And then a wide mid-on and a deep forward square leg. It's a very difficult field and no for you to get into your mind. So it's 5 on the onside. It's 4 on the offside, and there is a slip. And there's one person saving one, really.
Yeah. Well, he's going to offer him
nothing in his
really
half.
below hip height. You feel like it's going to be trying to get up, trying to get to an awkward angle,
and also taking a truly interminable amount of time. So we've had 2 balls this over in 3 minutes. As Sharma comes around the wicket to Malan, and Malan dabs into the offside and finds the only fielder there who can prevent the single, and then kicks it around a bit and rubs it on his leg.
I was just thinking, with all this field set, there's no real venom off the pitch, is there? He's running in early 80s. You'd hope to see with his height some good bounce and carry through, but the conditions aren't quite there. So
ball's 10 overs
flat.
old and it's still not happening, is it?
Yeah, very flat.
Part of that might it, Ebony? They bowled 90 overs, they bowled a lot yesterday. They've come back and bowled again today, but it's not really doing much in the air or doing much off the pitch, and it's a hard, pretty new ball. There is Sharma round the wicket to Malan. That's Fuller, and worked into the onside up to that wide mid-on for an easy single. So we thought he wasn't going to get anything in his half, but Sharma's forgotten the plan briefly.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? These two will just nudge you around all day and milk you. There's so many gaps just in front that if you miss your length, then When you get too full, you can poke it anywhere, really.
But they went into lunch at 182 for 2. How many overs was that, Andy?
68.
So we've had 22.4 overs, which is in and of itself criminal negligence, given that no wickets have fallen. We've had 22.4 overs and 102 runs have been scored. That's how easy England's batters have made it look this afternoon session. Ishant into Root, who pulls out through deep backward square leg. He can't quite pierce the field. And they get through for a single. Again, I forgot to tell you what the field is. It's very similar to the field to Milan, but in mirror image, with a lot of men back on the onside, and the telegraphed short ball, and Root happy to take it on and roll his wrists on it, get another single.
He did really well. He knows what's coming, and he got his hands nice and high, didn't try and overhit, just played it down into the surface.
285 for 2. Root 72.
You almost feel if someone's going to go short, it's the one with a bit more pace might be Venom. Someone like Bumrah has shown the most threat in that area, whereas Ishant feels a bit gentle.
Yeah, he's not quite on his rhythm, has he, really, today? As he comes in to complete the over to Milan. And Milan flicks it down the leg side, misses, it goes through to punt. End of the over. England 285 for 2. 91 overs have been bowled. Milan has 65, Root has 72, Andy Zaltzman.
It's England more than 200 ahead, just 2 wickets down in their first innings. Only the 5th time in England's Test history that they've bowled a team out and then had a lead of 200 with only 2 wickets down. 3 of them have been against India. There was one against Australia in Melbourne way back in February 1912. Against India at Edgbaston in 1974. The Madras Test when Fowler and Gatting both made double hundreds, and England were 563 for 2 at one point with a lead of 291 before a few late wickets game they won to go ahead in the series, and then against Bangladesh at Lords in 2005. So 200 lead, 2 wickets down.
Well, I thought it felt unusual, and now I know why. Right, now has Root got a little problem with his eyes here. He's going to the umpire. So this will slow the over rate down as well. It's not just the Indians slowing the over rate down. Root's got a problem.
He's got a fly in his eye. Maybe this might be what India need.
Umpire's having a look. Let's say, is he saying, I can't really see anything there?
Also, if he wears contacts, that'll be a nightmare, won't it?
Oh, yeah. The umpire say, don't do that. He's rubbing his fingers through his eyes. He say, don't do that.
I think he's got it. Whatever it was.
Could be an eyelash, could be anything, really, couldn't it? Right. He's almost ready to resume.
If I was the bowler, I'd be like, quick.
Yeah.
While there's something in his eye, get on your mark and try and put a slippery one in there. That might be their only hope at the moment, because he looks so organised.
Yeah, well, I might also, if I was Cody, say, look, do you need to retire hurt?
Yeah, you're right. It's all right.
Yeah. No, you take some time off. Now then.
Oh, now they've got to sanitise. You don't want to put that stuff in your eye.
What is he putting in his eye? Is he?
Well, I think because of COVID, they don't want to. So they're making him sanitise. But then that is going to sting in your eye.
Oh yeah, and then it can get all blurry.
Yeah,
These are perilous moments for Root. If the bowling hasn't done for him, then an eyelash might have done it.
All you need is a bit of water, don't you? You need a squirter bottle. Just squirt it in the eye and sort it out.
Just splash. Imagine it's really irritating, isn't it? Things in your eye.
Yeah.
The worst one's when you wake up with it. It's about 4 in the morning. It's just terribly annoying. Terribly annoying. Right, I think we're ready to resume.
Straight.
But he's coming round the wicket. So we've got one slip. We've got a whole series of men in various positions out on the leg side, and a fly slip again for the right-handed Root, who gets up on his toes, pushes into the acres of space, square of the wicket to the offside. The ball only goes 20-odd yards away, and he gets through for a run. Well, Root to 73. Milan back on strike on 65. England 286 for 2. I mean, is this... Because I remember we were talking last night. I won't divulge all the details of what we're talking about. But this is a moment in a game of cricket in which, let's say, there's no real tension because England are a long way ahead. There's no real urgency in England to move any faster than they currently are doing. Is it what is it? Is it a moment of like calm, contemplative relaxation for the fans who are here? Are they just soaking it all up?
Yeah, I think so. If I was in the crowd with a couple of mates,
Chattage.
I just would be chatting left, right, and centre about this, that, and the other, and then occasionally pop your head up when a boundary or something happens. But when the cricket is cooking on gas,
Siraj in over the wicket to Malan, who cuts thick edge down to this fly slip along the ground. It's in the air through second slip region, really, and he gets one more. But as Malan moves to 66, 287 for 2.
so like when Jimmy got 3 wickets, or if the ball's moving, or if something's pant comes to the crease, then you sit up, you tell your mates to be quiet. I only came with you because I needed a friend, but I'm here to watch this moment.
But right now, 209 ahead, 8 wickets in hand.
You're chilling.
Yeah.
You know when sometimes the camera goes on someone having a quick snooze?
Yes. Siraj round the wicket to Root, who pulls vigorously out to the boundary for 4. He's found the gap between a sort of... it's so difficult to describe this field. There's a long leg and there's a man on a line through backward square leg who's, again, not saving one, but is a good 30 yards inside the boundary. The square leg, and he's got it between that backward square leg and the long leg. It's quite a difficult angle to find. He moves to 77. I suppose it'll all warm up if either Malan or Root gets close to 100 as well, because that's an opportunity to interact. I mean, we saw what happened when they got to 50. The entire crowd rose. Siraj in. And that's pulled again by Root, and he won't quite pierce the field successfully enough to get the boundary, as Ishant Sharma moves to his left at long leg to field. But Root's just picked up 5 runs there, as easy as you like. Moves to 78, 292 for 2. The lead 214.
Well, what about you? Are you glued to the telly 24/7?
Well, you see, look, it's not a particularly noble thing to admit, but I like Zoltz. I'll just be hanging on every number, every.
Oh, you like your statage?
Yeah, well, I'll just be enjoying the fact that, you know, look, when was the last time England were 2 down, having faced 91.4 overs? And, you know, when was the last time 4 of them got over 60? The top 4 down the leg side, and diving take by punt, there's no run. And then imagining forward, you know, looking at Root's number of runs in the calendar year, and sort of imagining what great glories there may be there.
Some people love
find
the
all
stats,
sorts of ways.
Get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only thing. Obviously, there's, you know, marvelling at Root's ease. You know, he came in when England were clogged up, couldn't find a run, and mostly off the back foot. As Siraj is driven to short extra cover, there's no run. Thinking about at the end, that's the end of the over, 292 for 2. Malan 66, Root 78. When he first came in and Hamid had faced whatever it was, 20-something, 29 scoreless balls or something of that sort. The first ball he faced just rocked back a little, pushed it to the offside, found a single. See, that sort of thing makes me extremely excited, because I think there's Hamid, who's a genuinely good player, who's earned his right to be in the test team, was becalmed, whereas Root hadn't faced the ball. It's just, there's a single, and then these punches off the back foot, finding gaps. I can get very excited about singles. I got very excited earlier about forward defensives. I get very excited.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I like technique. I love watching how players get balls in different places. You know, someone like Joe Root is his footwork, his balance, his positioning, how he's able to hit those singles. I like looking at how they go about that. Different batters will set up with slightly different guards, or lots of different ways. Sometimes they'll come out their crease. Those sort of things is the sort of thing that takes me down a bit of a rabbit hole. How do the players achieve their goal?
Yes, I can see why you would like that too. Jadeja, the attack starts a new over. Big appeal for LBW, and Jadeja liked it. The ball ran away behind square on the offside for, well, we won't find out yet whether it's a leg bye or not, because they'll wait to see if Kohli wants to refer this. It didn't look too far away, but I think it's drifting down the leg side, actually. And has he given that as a run?
Well, I think he got an inside edge and it was drifting down, so
right.
It was just one of those last. I think he played it into his pads, but it wasn't going to hit.
No.
Even if there was no bat involved.
With the naked eye, it looked quite a good appeal. You could see why Jadeja went for it. 293 for 2 with that single. Jadeja into Malan. Drives back to the bowler. There's no run. And then there's the other part of it is just sort of being in a live sporting event. It's always, you can always find a bit of fun from that. There are bananas here after all. Large human bananas. As Malan pushes the ball into the onside of a full ball. You don't see
Do you do
every
fancy
day.
dress to a game? Is that you?
No, I would never do that. No, that's because that's effort. I mean, you've got to hire it, and then you've got to take it back, and all sorts of things. As Malan comes forward, the ball squirts off the inside half of his
What if
bat.
someone ordered it
The
for you?
onside. Well, yeah, I've got very little shame, as you can see from what I normally wear. So I suppose I could be persuaded. Jadeja is in, and that's full. Works into the onside, and there's no run. I remember going to one of our colleagues' parties, and it was an 1920s themed party. Quite enjoyed dressing up as a sort of 20s character with a strange hat. Jadeja in, and that's again an appeal as the ball thuds into Malan's pad and rolls out to the offside, but he got a long stride forward, and Jadeja's not really interested in it. And then I went to a fancy dress party where you had to dress up at the end of the over, 293 for 2, as a cocktail. And I really objected to that because, you come as a Bloody Mary or something like that. So I chose a whiskey mac and just put on a raincoat and carrot and egg whisk. But it seems like a lot of effort. There's more T20 Blast commentary tonight as Somerset take on Lancashire on 5 Live Sports Extra from 7. It's an extraordinary match last night. Hampshire beating Notts right to the death by 2 runs. They bowled them out. They needed 2 off 3. Did Notts, and Hampshire got that last wicket. You can watch clips of that and the action here today on the BBC Sport website and app. I mean, really good, the T20 quarterfinals, actually. They often are. Siraj starts a new over and Root defends. Fullish ball on the offside and on off stump into the offside. There's no run.
I was just thinking that was a pretty decent over, actually, just there from Jadeja. He fired it in a few times, right in at the pads, a couple of just almost nervy shots. And when you haven't had any success and a bowler kind of gives you just a hint of something, maybe the near shout for an LBW, you kind of need the other end to do the same and then slowly build that pressure. So it's important Siraj backs it up.
Last over before tea this will be. Siraj is in, worked into the onside by Root, but he can't beat the fielder. And there's no run. What did Root start on at lunch?
He was 14. Lunch.
So he's got 65 runs. And sorry to ask you this again, remind me, how many overs have we now had in this session?
It was 68 at lunch.
So 25 overs, he scored 65 runs. He's going at 2.5 runs and over himself. Here is Siraj into Root. Root works this away off his pads down to long leg for a single. With that moves to 80. His incredible summer, his incredible 2021 is continuing. Brings Malan onto strike, 294 for 2 with 3 balls to go until tea. England having scored 112 runs in these 25. It's going to be 26 overs. India have already been docked points, haven't they? I believe, in the World Test Championship for their over rate.
Both sides were.
Both sides were, yeah.
First test.
Well, India have got to be a little careful here. They don't want to lose points and lose the match. Siraj is around the wicket, and that's driven by Malan without timing. And then Siraj pretends he's going to throw the ball towards Malan's head. He turns his head away. Siraj is smiling. He's not got quite the same intense snarl as he had at Lord's. The circumstances of the match might be changing his approach and outlook. With 2 balls to go. 2 slips in. More conventional field altogether. Deep backward point. Cover mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. Deep square and a long leg. Siraj round the wicket. And Malan drives, square of the wicket beautifully. It's going to run away to the boundary. It will not be cut off. 4 more to Malan. Takes him to 70. England to 298 for 2. 1 ball left in this session. Seems a long time ago that England were all stuck. As yes, Andy's also.
So Malan's second highest test score. Previously in his 7 previous 50-plus scores, he'd only got past 65 once when he made 140 in Perth.
Well, he's already scored more runs in this innings than England's number 3s have scored in the previous 8 innings combined this summer.
That's a stat.
You happy with that?
I like that stat. That's a really interesting stat.
Yeah. And do you know what I feel? I genuinely...
Did you get excited about that?
Do I get a house point for that?
That is top points here.
Thank you. Last ball before tea. Siraj into Malan, down the leg side, taken by Pant. There's a huge appeal for caught behind. Siraj, I think, might want to go upstairs here. So this might take a little bit of time. Kohli is talking to Siraj. Siraj is trying to convince him. It's almost like well, why wouldn't we? He's gone for it. So it was speared in around the wicket. Malan followed it, flicked at it. He doesn't look overly perturbed.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review for a catch behind. It's a fair delivery. Original decision is not out. So can we have a look at front on spin vision, please?
He's looking quite relaxed at the moment, Malan, but he could just be putting that on for the camera. So here we go. We're going to get to see the replay. Well, it's not going to hit. It's not in his pad.
Okay, let's go back there, please. Rock back to when the ball's passing the bat.
The Pant didn't show any excitement.
Ball was passing the bat, please.
Kohli's laughing. Kohli's properly laughing. I don't quite know what he's laughing about. Well, it might have hit the bat.
Very close to the bat. Can we have a look at Ultra Edge, please?
It hasn't hit the pad. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
It has.
No
He
way.
has. He has.
I've got a spike when the ball is next to the bat.
Well, would you
go
believe
back
it?
to Richard on field to overturn his decision. You're on screen now, Richard.
Well, that's it. Malan has got to go to the last ball before tea, and there was an unusual dismissal. Punt didn't believe it. Only Siraj really believed it. He urged Kohli. He begged with him. And Kohli, I think, thought, well, why not? We've had no joy in this session. We've conceded 116 runs in 26 overs. Root and Malan have got on absolutely fine. Let's see. Let's have a look. And sure enough, a tiny little spike strangled down the leg side. A little flick. It was really full from Siraj. And Malan just got enough bat on it. And Siraj must have heard something because it was nowhere near the pad. And there's a definite spike as the ball hit the back. So Malan goes for 70. A dramatic end to the session. England 298 for 3. The lead 220. Malan will be furious and disappointed because there was 100 there for the taking. He's got out in really annoying fashion for him. And that's given India a bit of a fillip going into tea. Root, the other end, is unbeaten on 80 from, get this, 94 balls. He's batted absolutely sumptuously. As good as he's batted all summer, and that's saying something since he's batted absolutely brilliantly all summer. Emily Rainford, Brent, some thoughts from you, and then to take you through tea, it's going to be Alison Mitchell.
Well, first of all, Siraj had to be a good salesman there because Pant wasn't convinced there was a little tickle on that last ball. Neither was the captain, Virat Kohli. All the Indians looked unsure about any possible snick on that delivery. Well, he was right. He got that as classical, that last ball before an end of a session. Everybody gets nervous. Is the concentration going to wane? It was a bit of a gift, really, but it's at least given India something to go into lunch with, because let's be honest, Ali, it's been all England and all Joe Root.